first phase of construction saw a legion of soldiers, engineers, and civilian laborers carve the foundation into the basaltic substratum of the region, a task that demanded the quarrying of over 800,000 tons of stone from local outcrops, such as those at Corbridge and the Whinstone of the Pennines. Each stone, typically 2 to 3 feet long and weighing 150 kilograms, was hauled by oxen and men along a network of temporary roads, and the wall's core was laid in a herringbone pattern that added both strength and a distinctive aesthetic. Inside, the layout included a central courtyard, a barracks block, a granary, and a sally port that opened onto a 12-meter-wide ditch. Their daily routine began before dawn with a roll call, followed by patrols along the wall's parapet, where they scanned the moorland for signs of raiders or cattle rustlers, a task that required keen observation of the shifting winds and the faintest footprints in the peat. Life beyond the stone barrier was a mosaic of cultures. The initial garrison, drawn primarily from the legions of the Rhine and the Danube, was later supplemented by auxiliary units recruited from across the empire, Sarmatian cavalry from the Black Sea, Syrian archers, and even a cohort of Moorish infantry. These diverse troops brought with them languages, religious practices, and culinary traditions that mingled with the local customs. In AD 142, a cohort of 500 Sarmatian horsemen, famous for their heavy cataphract armor, was stationed at the fort of Silurnum, where they introduced the use of spiked helmets and a distinctive cavalry drill that enhanced the wall's defensive capabilities against fast-moving raiding parties. The wall's strategic purpose evolved as the political landscape shifted. However, by AD 162, the Romans abandoned the Antonine line, retreating to the more defensible Hadrianic frontier and reinforcing its forts with additional troops and supplies. The retreat was marked by a massive logistical operation. Over 1,000 tons of timber and iron were transported from the River Clyde to the northernmost forts, ensuring that the wall could withstand the renewed pressure from the Pictish confederations. The harsh climate of northern Britain posed a constant challenge. Medical care on the frontier was rudimentary, yet surprisingly organized. A surgeon's kit discovered at the fort of Housesteads contained scalpel-like bronze blades, bone drills, and a collection of medicinal herbs such as yarrow, sage, and willow bark, the latter a source of salicylic acid used to treat fevers and pain. Roman accounts describe a fierce counterattack by the cohort of Sarmatian horsemen, whose heavy armor and disciplined charge forced the raiders to retreat, but not before the attackers set fire to the wooden barracks, causing significant loss of supplies. The incident prompted the construction of a second, deeper ditch at the fort of Corbridge, widening it to 20 feet and reinforcing the earthwork with a layer of timber palisades. Over the next 2 centuries, the wall witnessed a gradual decline in imperial support as the empire's focus shifted to the eastern frontiers. By AD 260, the Roman legions stationed in Britain were reduced to a handful of auxiliary units, and the forts were increasingly manned by locally recruited soldiers, known as limitanae, who were granted land in exchange for their service. This transition altered the social fabric of the frontier. Soldiers settled with their families, cultivated plots of barley and oats, and intermarried with local Britons, creating a hybrid Romano-British culture evident in the pottery styles that combined Roman slipware with Celtic motifs. The wall's role as a trade conduit persisted even as military presence waned. The discovery of a cache of bronze coins at Milecastle 12, ranging from the reign of Nero to that of Gallienus, indicates that merchants continued to travel along the wall's road network, exchanging Roman silver for local iron and lead. The presence of a civitas at the fort of Luguvalium, modern Carlisle, suggests that a civilian settlement grew around the fort's perimeter, with workshops producing metal tools, leather goods, and glass beads, catering both to the needs of soldiers and to the surrounding tribal communities. In AD 410, the Roman administration formally withdrew from Britain, leaving the wall without its original custodians. Yet the structure did not fall into immediate ruin. The local population repurposed its stones for building churches, farmsteads, and defensive ditches. The iconic Roman wall stones can be seen incorporated into the parish church of St. Michael at Bowness-on-Solway, where a 2-meter-wide block forms part of the nave's north wall, a testament to the continuity of material culture across centuries. The post-Roman period also saw the wall becoming a focal point for new powers. In the 7th century, the Anglo-Saxon Kingdom of Northumbria claimed the territory south of the wall, while the Picts to the north fortified their own settlements. The wall's ditch, still deep and waterlogged, served as a natural barrier that discouraged large-scale invasions, and its remnants were occasionally re-fortified by local warlords during periods of conflict, such as the Viking incursions of the 9th century, when a small garrison of Norsemen occupied the ruins of the fort at Housesteads, using its elevated position to monitor the surrounding moorland. Archaeological excavations in the 20th century, beginning with Sir Francis Haverfield's pioneering surveys in the 1920s, have uncovered layers of occupation that illuminate the wall's long-term impact. Radiocarbon dating of charcoal from hearths at the fort of Vindolanda places continuous habitation from AD 122 through to AD 400. While pollen analysis of soil samples shows a gradual shift from native heather to cultivated barley, indicating the spread of Roman agricultural practices into the previously wild landscape. The discovery of the famous Vindolanda tablets, thin wooden leaflets bearing inked messages, provides intimate glimpses into daily life. A soldier requesting a change of boots, a woman ordering a new dress, and a commander issuing orders for the repair of the fort's latrine. Wall's legacy persisted in the collective memory of Britain. Medieval chroniclers, such as Bede, referred to the Great Stone Wall as a symbol of Roman civilization, and during the 16th century Tudor period, the wall was surveyed by cartographers who used it as a reference point for defining the boundary between England and Scotland. Even the modern term, Hadrian's Wall, was coined in the 18th century by antiquarians who romanticized the Roman frontier, inspiring poets like William Wordsworth to compose verses that evoked the melancholy of a ruined empire. In the present day, the wall stretches across a protected landscape of national parks, with UNESCO designating it a World Heritage Site in 1987. Over 2 million visitors walk its length each year, tracing the same routes once patrolled by Roman soldiers. While archaeologists continue to uncover new artifacts through non-invasive surveys, such as ground-penetrating radar that reveals hidden foundations of previously unknown mile castles, the wall stones, weathered by centuries of rain and wind, still bear the faint imprint of Roman tooling, a silent testimony to the engineering prowess that enabled an empire to project power across a remote frontier. Through the lens of history, the wall emerges not merely as a defensive barrier, but as a living corridor where military strategy, economic exchange, cultural synthesis, and environmental adaptation intersected. The soldiers who guarded its ramparts, the families who cultivated its fields, and the peoples who traded beyond its gates, each contributed to a complex tapestry that shaped the identity of northern Britain for generations. The frozen frontier that Hadrian envisioned, once a line drawn in stone, ultimately became a conduit through which ideas, goods, and peoples flowed, leaving an imprint that endures long after the legions have faded into dust. In reflecting on this ancient frontier, one sees how the boundaries we build can both separate and connect, shaping the destinies of those who stand upon them.